Hey, that was a funny sound in between. Yeah, hello everybody, welcome. I'm back for another live stream. I'm just playing with SubBoomBass, and just ahead of the live stream I had one nice preset which I had to save, and I like this one too. So I based on this. Nice. I need to save this one as well. Save, I think this one is one. Save preset as. Okay, I will show you in a second the other one what I did. This one is the number 3. So I had this low ride sound, this one, which is in your current preset bank. It's the low ride riddle, it's called. And I was tweaking that one, and then suddenly by adding oscillator 2. So if I go to this preset, I added oscillator 2. And if you go to the sequencer, you can see then in oscillator 2, it's I shut off the oscillator of playing on step 1, because you have per step you have a sequencer waveform option. So each step can have a different waveform. So here we see step 1 is length by the tie. So essentially the first step is very long, and I put that off. So you oscillator 1 you don't hear playing, only at step 7. Okay, let me show you sequence A. Only a contrabass. So I could also pick something else here. I could pick one of the waveforms, taiko. And you see on step 11 it has a voice brass sound. So by shutting off this one, I said first it sounded like this. But I don't want to have this sinus waveform, so I put this oscillator off on step 1. So you see each step has its own waveform, or can have its own waveform, in this case until step 7 doesn't do anything. And then it was sequence A, and I also had sequence B, and sequence B is a little bit different, and there I need to select sequence B, of course. Here, sequence B. It's only the vocal sound. That one, so oscillator 2 goes to the second filter, which is a high-pass filter, because here you see the filter is in split mode, which means that the first oscillator goes into filter 1. Essentially, it's bypass, by the way, but I use a little bit of distortion, pre-filter distortion. So on the filter 1, of an oscillator 1, you have a little bit pre-filter distortion. And the second oscillator, because here in the filter pass it's called split, it means that oscillator 2 goes into filter 2. The high pass filter. Hear that? So you have a kind of parallel synth playing next to each other. So I did edit it, and you have a very nice little accent. So in the sequence A, it shortly plays the contrabass, and in sequence B, it's only the vocal sound. So if you use that with a little bit of drums, you got a nice bass type of thing. Oh, I did not start at the 1. Yeah, and after that I had another accident by, if I click here, Auto by Day, I had also this Dirty Me sequence, which I found interesting by simply shutting down the sub-oscillator, 18 dB low-pass filter, which is what they say is inside the original TB303. They say it's an 18 dB low-pass filter. So yeah, and that one combines nice if you have a little bit tweaking around with some modulation wheel. Or simply in the synth itself here. FX section is an amp simulator active. So this is the natural sound, and now this is very clean. You also could pick another filter here. Oh, that one is also dirty. Oh, 23 low. Zero latency is this one. This one really screams. Oh. You hear that? I have a little beat. Oh boy, that one is dirty. I saved this one because it's so cool. Save. You see, just by picking a different filter type, you run into very cool variations of the preset. Okay, welcome in the chat room. Hi, Winston. Good to see you back from South Africa. No, today you have electricity, I noticed, so that's good. You have terrible or outage, how they call it, I believe, electro outage. Yes. So yeah, in the SubBoomBass-2 we have different filters, a whole range, you see, and the new ones are the zero latency filters we added. We released recently a SubBoomBass-2 update. I'm not sure if you have that one. If you go here and you click on download latest, it does say I have the latest version SubBoomBass-2 version 102D. And there you will find some new presets. I think some time ago I played a few of the new presets. Of course, in the sequence preset 4, you will find a lot of nuanced sequence presets. This uses the string model. It's very nice. It's more a mid-type bass. I can add some sub-oscillator. That's a little bit too deep, I think. It's really a bit slappy. So that one uses the string model, which is here. And if you have the string model, you see some of the parameters change, but here they have done the setting for it. Okay, I was playing the synthesizer. I wanted to show you something today about synthesis, which last time I had a student in my studio about synthesis, and we discussed what can you do with samples and that kind of thing. And I want to show you in a second what is very cool if you have, for instance, Cubase or a sampler or whatever, if you're going to play with creating some odd samples. So okay, but let's go back to SubBoomBass-2. So this one uses the pick string. Yeah, and I had a lot of new bass presets. Some are very... one inspired on the CS30 by having a second filter here. So this one uses split, and oscillator 1 has this sound. And oscillator 2 has this sound, but goes to the second filter. So here you see filter pass is split. So you hear that? It's really parallel. It does the second oscillator, goes to the bandpass. And I did create this preset while showing you the CS30, which is, by the way, now in repair because of the sequencer was defect. But that one had a very interesting routing. You could use 2 oscillators, but have 2 independent filters. And I changed the filter by using the modulation wheel, which is done in the mod matrix. You see mod wheel connected to filter 2 frequency. So I had a lot of new. And this bass is using my kitchen draw. So it's SubBoomBass, yeah. Somebody mentioned SubBoomBass does far more than the name does say. Yeah, absolutely. Of course, it started a little bit like an urban, but we have the wave sequence. And really, doing some very creative things with it. So this bass has originally the kitchen drawer. So the kitchen drawer is where all the spoons and blades are, and I hear the sound trillion times a day that it is thrown close, so close the tray. So so it's this sound. Now you can hear it. So this is what I hear each day. I'm not sure which the original sound is. So like this, I think. So it's the in the kitchen upstairs, and I use the attack of this sound for giving the bass an attack sound. So I will click here of original. So it has using a square, a traditional square, which has a smaller pulse. And on top, I do the kitchen draw to give a little punchy attack to it. You hear what it does? So this is a bass. Moog Me Now, well, that's a traditional. Moogie bass, Moog type of bass sound. With the legato mode, of course, which is done here in the play mode. Here's the play mode, legato. Then you can do this glide over your keyboard. So yeah, let me see in the chat room how everybody is. I see it's filling in. DJ Darkside Jungle, welcome for the first time you mentioned. Cool to have you inside the chat room. Feel free to ask questions. Taba. This uses a tabla. Let's see. This is tabla. But that's very random stuff. Hey, that's cool. How is that possible? Have no idea why it does this. It uses FM synthesis. It is modulated here with FM synthesis or phase. So that one is combined and you get really an odd sound, isn't it? Of course, it's a lot of filtered. Yeah, this is more bass and lead, so. Uses the Rob box, which was a wooden box with a metal to it, and I sampled this. That's why it calls the Rob box. Yeah, these are typical techno type of sounds. So this is one of the newer sounds in the SubBasses. I'm not sure if I had their new ones. Very low. Yeah, and in the sequence we had, I think also here some new ones. No. I'm not correct on that part. What was? Oh yeah, we had some new presets from. I cannot see it yet, or am I mistaken? I'm looking into the banks. I might overlook something. Don't know. Oh no, it was in Go2X that we had some new presets. Yeah, here also new presets, but not from a other party bank. Okay. Okay, I'm just checking the chat room if I don't miss. Rob, it's almost like the Roland 50 system with sample to enhance the attack. Yeah, it's the D50 which had at that time a attack of a pan flute, and the rest was then synthesis behind it to give the sustain, because the length was of course a little bit the problem, because the longer the sample, the more memory it took. Oh, yes, indeed. These are more kind of very clicky, this one. Uses FM synthesis here. If I use FM, it's not FM, it's phase modulation, but we call it FM in this case, and you see here the envelope. Here you see that we have on the first envelope, number 1, uses on the volume, so it controls the volume. And you got this click in the bass, which is very nice. You got a little bit the sound from Michael Jackson, Liberian Girl or something. Okay, pump up the bass. Yes. So today, 2 new presets. If you like that I upload these 2 for you, or 3 of them in the sequencer bank, just by accident I've made some variation on some of these sequencer banks, and the sounds were a little bit too good to spoil. So it's this low ride riddle me, it's called, which is the extra thing added to it. So the TB303 type of stuff, Dirty Me 03. And then we added a different filter, and you had number 4. These are good. Sounds very dirty. So these are added. Okay, guys. Did you, DJ Darkside? No, I'm not a programmer. The genius is John Iris, who does program. I'm the guy who create a lot of presets, and the guy who thinks about the ideas, what the concept should be, what should be inside the synthesizers. For example, the SubBoomBass-2. Initially, the idea came from an American guy who was working for Guitar Center, and he said, well, it would be cool to have a urban bass synthesizer. And of course we could have then only with sub basses and that kind of stuff, but I thought, yeah, it should be far more doing than only basic analog style of very good bass sounds. It really should do also other stuff. And now we made the sequencer with the wave sequence, and the fact that you can combine the built-in samples we also have. So we have the the analog modeled waveforms, the classic waveforms, but also a range of samples which you can combine. And that became then SubBoomBass. And John Iris is the guy. I throw the ideas to him and he starts coding. For instance, the Blue 3 is of course a big machine we have. The idea was to have basically 6 oscillators to have a kind of FM synthesis setup, like a DX7 type of thing. But I found the DX7, if we then talk about this area, this options we have today, is that we also can use subtractive synthesis and combine it together. So the idea was with original Blue was to combine the cool thing of FM synthesis together with the cool things of subtractive synthesis, which is possible with virtual instruments. So you have then 2 filters on board. Later we have Blue 2, where we have a very nice range of samples to it, and of course the XY, and which is here in Blue 3. So and then of course we have Sidejack, who does all our Mac programming. So yeah, John is the coder. I'm more the creative, we say that, the creative brain behind the products, the development of the concepts. And of course, I create a lot of presets for it next to other people like Jamal, and we had Klangwelt recently. So yeah, for instance, with Blue 3, I sampled the Solina strings. Maybe you ever heard about the Solina strings, which is this sound, which is from the 70s. Of course, famous from Jean-Michel Jarre, but also used in many pop productions because that was a good replacement for real violence. Yeah, and the cool thing is that you can combine this, essentially these are samples, multi-samples, with the synthesis part of Blue 3, which essentially what I did here using a square waveform, a pulse modulation, using a filter, and I created, let's say with oscillator 1 to 4, more a Jupiter 8 type of pad sound. Combine that together with the Solina string. So essentially, with Blue 3, you have then a very expansive Jupiter pad sound combined with the Solina strings. They got a very nice strings. So my approach is more from the musical side. John is a very good programmer. And of course, he has ideas back to me, and it goes back and forth. So together we are the team behind these products. So it's a very nice pad. Okay, I'm reading the text, DJ. Yeah, C++ we use, and I'm not too deep into programmer. Of course, John feedbacks to me if he does certain things to the code. Of course, they like to optimize things, but sometimes optimization for CPU usage goes back to the audio quality, and we really focus on audio quality because the CPU problem today is not a problem anymore. They are very powerful, these computers, and John is a very good coder. So we still, although you have top-notch audio quality, it's still pretty okay on the CPU. Yeah, we still have NKS support. The last addition we did was for Go to X. What is planned now is for Albino 3, the NKS support. So take a few more weeks because I need to tag all the presets. Then the NKS version of Albino 3 will go to Native Instruments. They will check if everything is okay. And then we can release it. So yeah, so also Blue 3 is NKS compatible. SubBoomBass-2 is NKS compatible. So all available. Okay, so let's go back to another idea, which is a bit strange idea. But for today, as you guys know, sometimes I derail myself and do weird stuff on a session. And now I had this idea. Here we have bit 2. You know, this is bit 2. And this one has an insane reverb. Uses the... oh no, that's the wrong one. Sorry. My bad. This one, I mean. This one has the built-in reverb and insane long. You see the size and the length. It's really like this. So what I did now, because I was discussing with somebody, well, what creative things can you do with samples? Yeah, I think a lot of creative, insane stuff. So I said, okay, let's make this sound, which is simply a saw waveform in a huge reverb, and I play a few notes. They are here. You see, there are the notes. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Here, and then this I recorded. So this I played. Okay, here it comes. So a really insane long reverb. And so I did resample this and put that in a sample track, they call it. Most likely your own music host has something like that as well. Oh no. Let me see where it is. No. Okay. Give me 1 second. Where is this baby? Yeah, okay, that way. Okay, here we have it. So I did sample this sound, and here you can see I dropped that in the sample player. So you have, if you go in Cubase, you can select here on the right mouse, add track, you can select an instrument or a sampler. Then you have essentially a sampler. And what I did is, here is the sample. So I hear it again. Yeah, here it is. If I play another. So this is not very exciting, but what is cool, if you move the start point from the sample forward, and then you get this. Or even further. And now I need to boost a little bit the volume on the... Then you get some weird sounds and you think, what is this? If I would play this first, you would not say, oh, this is bit. No. You would say, what is this? You get a little bit 90s sounds. And yeah, here you have the option in even filters you can address here. I'm looking here for the release, but I'm not finding it yet. Because there's the amp, okay, but where's the attack, decay, sustain, and release, babies? But what, that doesn't matter. So samples, you can do some weird. Got some 90s lead sound. So essentially this was the sound. Simply recorded from bit. Change the start point. And if I could have a slow attack, but I'm not sure if I can arrange this here because I have a little bit of... Oh, here it is. The weird things you can make. So this is done with a synth. Sample, resample a sound in the synth. Came to this this new sound. So it was this one. Just playing a few notes, and then you get this as a synth sound. So was it today's... Oh, that's very long, isn't it? Was it today's DAW or music program? You can do a lot of insane things. So this is very cool. This is in Cubase. You can drop a sample and you can play back the sample. And I also did that with my voice. I have this one. Just did... That's me. Oh. With a lot of reverb. I get a Donald Duck. But also here you can say, okay, let's use only the... Can really make some strange 70s, 80s. Quite dirty, isn't it? Yeah, you could download this sample also. Good point, tonal access in Blue 3. If I would go to Blue 3, oh, you hear that my singing was out of tune. You can go and go to the samples. Then I need to drag and drop. Let me see if I need to go where I drop this sample. Okay. Here it is. I can audition it here. Loop start, okay. Now, this is the sample. You need to put that here in, of course, sample 1. It's loaded, and then I need to go to the main page. Let me shut down, because I'm now in the string sound, so that's a little... Let me see if I can pick it here. Sample 1. There it is. Of course, the sample point is not good. Let me move the sample. Not sure if I can. Yeah, here it goes. Okay. Sample and. Okay, go back. Oh, I'm going as the sound one. I'm doing something wrong. Long time ago that I played this. Okay, why is it gone? Mm-hmm. And what you can do here is then also granular. It's some weird atonal sounds, but this is... that doesn't sound well. So you can load samples into Blue, and you can use layers where you put up to 6 layers combined with split points. In this case, I only have sample 1 picked in oscillator 1, the first sample. So yeah, of course, this is advanced usage of Blue 3, but also you could do use it in Punch too, for instance, if it's a percussive type of sound. Think. Oh, that's a sample that Tonal Access made. I Am Blue 3. Oh, well. Little bell thing. Together with the bell. Okay. So yeah, good point that this can be loaded in Blue 3D sample. I'm only figuring out here with the sample start. I don't see it really. Ah, there it is. There it moves. It's the color in the I expected in a line, but here you see where the sample starts. It's the white. It turns the okay, let me see the chat room. So maybe a cool idea also for you, experiment a little bit with your DAW. With samples you can make sometimes very strange, odd sounds which you think, where is that coming from? I had another one which was older. That one we had. Boom. Boom. Boom, yeah? No. That was then also one. I don't find it. Of course, if you do choir sounds, you can better have multi-layer sounds. Vector has also very nice. Weird sounds, yeah. vector. Originally, that's why it looks so different compared to our other synthesizers. It's based on the rack extension from Reason. Therefore, you see also modulation wheel. Yeah, then you have the, let me go back. You go here to the pads. Here we have, of course, the choirs, the Okay, let's see the chat room. For choir songs, you need the Teenage Engineering Choir. I don't know. I know the Teenage Engineering is a little device, but I'm not sure about the choirs from that. Maybe it's a kind of synthesis choir, which is very similar to the choirs you get from the older VP330 from Roland from the 80s, which was a multi-filter sound, so it was more synthesis type of thing. Let me see if I have that one. It was called VP. Let me see if I can something. This one. Then it sounds like this. This is using the vocal filter. So if you put that off, bypass, you got this sound. Like a pet sound, but if you put on the vowel filter, which was also in this VP string machine from Roland, then you get this sound. So it's really synthetic choirs, which are, of course, no samples in this case. Yeah, and what I mentioned last time is that with Blue 3, we have the amp always visible, except for the sample page and the manager page. But then, because that's what you use very often to change the sound so that it fits in your piece of music. So making them more spacey. It's very different than if you do things like this, you know? Okay, so that's why we always have the amp visible in the Blue 3. Of course, if you click on this little icon here on the right hand side, it opens also the graphic mode of this amp envelope for the volume control. So if you move this around, you see it moves around also in the lower section. I mean, a choir as you got the wooden dolls in it singing as a choir, or very high, more. Yeah, I think what you mean with these type of choirs. I think we have the these are the two sounds. It's maybe more like this. High. Yeah, and if you go here, you can make it. You see, just by changing the amp, I totally have a... Oh. Quick question. Are these sound samples based on virtual analog technology? Well, samples are samples. Of course, we use multi-samples, but the other waveforms in Blue 3 are code produced, so they are virtual analog. And of course, also the filters are virtual analog reproduced the code. So if you would go here to analog bases, you see a sinusoid. These are not samples, but they are generated waveforms, virtual analog as they call it. So this one uses the filter. So and that's the cool thing about Blue 3. You can combine subtractive, so classic virtual analog, together with FM synthesis. So combine the... Let me see if I can have an example for it in the digital bases. So this bass doesn't use any filters, you see? Filters are bypassed. This is really FM synthesis type of sound. And that's cool, you can combine that together. These are sinus waveform, modulated by another sinus waveform, and modulated by another one. This is really F. And the cool thing, what you can do here, if you say, okay, let's make this one, okay, let's make it a little bit different, or using very harsh, and then you could say, okay, oscillator 6 goes out, and instead of going directly into the FX, I can say, go to filter 1, and I use a 24 dB filter on an FM synthesizer. Here it is. Filter envelope. So the options are ridiculous with Blue 3. Is of course a much deeper synth compared to a bit or Predator 3 or SubBoomBass, but that's the cool thing. Each has its own style, each has its own possibilities. In terms of synthesis, Blue 3 is really going insane in terms of features on that subject. It has a wave sequence on board. Oh, yeah. Also with the option to have for each different step a different waveform. So things from SubBoomBass-2 you see back in Blue 3. So this is more wave sequencer type of sounds. Yes, I mean, yeah, emulate hardware. It's more what they do is, for instance, the first filter is a Moog ladder filter in our synthesizer. So you have the different type of filters, and the first one is a virtual Moog ladder filter. So essentially in the DSP code to simulate the way it works with a Moog filter. The other type 2 is more like a Roland type of synthesizer filter type, because the filters really makes a difference. I have, of course, in my studio an original Jupiter 8 and a Mini Moog, and if you open the filter and you play saw wave, these sound differences are not that big, but the moment when you start filtering, you hear the difference with a Mini Moog filter and, for instance, a Roland filter. Both have their own character, so it's not that one or the other ones are better. So here you have also the normal view or the wave view. Here you can change the waveform per step or the normal view. But there are also other cool things inside the sequencer, like the command page, where you can say, okay, I made the sequence from step 1 to 16 and you want to copy it over from 70 to 32. So the options are endless. Okay, guys, yeah, we are at the end of the live stream. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Spread the word that if you like the live stream. And I hope to see you next week, Thursday, same time, 8 o'clock Central European time. I will be here. And then we catch up again and play around with our plugins and have fun. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and enjoy creating music.